Live Bruins Beat. Live Bruins Beat. We told you we'd be doing more of these and had to get Court Lalonde involved, which is the best thing you can possibly do. What a win. Bruins win 3-2 in OT. They've won 6 of 7, which is not for nothing. Pretty insane. Before we get into that, of course, we want to thank our sponsors at PrizePicks. Remember to use that promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And of course, make sure to go subscribe to Bruins Ringside on YouTube. Lots of great stuff. We do these all the time. Listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. And then, of course, there's lots of other great stuff at CLNS too. Celtics All Access, Patriots Press Pass. They're always going. I'm Evan Marinofsky. That's Court Lalonde. Court, how you doing? How you feeling?
Am I allowed to say shocked?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel this game, like, think about it. The next 3 more games, they've got another Ottawa game and they got 2 Toronto games. Game on Saturday, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be very tense for me. I'm not going to the game, but still at the same time, it's like anytime the Bruins play the Leafs, it's like, I hate this. But with the Bruins playing the way they are, and I said right before we went live, I don't know what it was, but it was like in the second period. I understand we talked about it. They outshot them in the first, but it was more of the second period where I was like, did something click? It was like I wasn't seeing the sloppy man-on-man coverage switch offs. Like there was a lot of issues I found in their own zone when they did the switch off with regards to man-on-man, and they get a little clumsy with regards, especially on the defensive zone. And I didn't see much of that. I still see Andrew Peeke doing things that make me get frustrated. I don't care that he got 2 assists. The guy frustrates the living
He
daylight
got
out of me.
roughed up tonight. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he got injured. Maybe he'll take a seat for a game. But we'll see. I'm very interested on what this Bruins team can do. I did a video today about the 15 game mark, and I truly believe the 15 game mark is a real thing. It's like I think it's like 12 or 14% of the teams that are not in a playoff spot at that point are not going to make the playoffs. The Bruins, if you actually did at the beginning before this game, if you took the standings and did it by winning percentage, they were second last in the division, not where they were before the game. I'll be very happy. It's just, it's almost like, I don't know. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say like this team can't win a Stanley Cup, but they are trying. Connor Geeky, I really love that guy. And you know
Morgan Geeky.
Morgan Geeky. Sorry, I always do that. I always say Connor.
I know. Well, it's easy to.
But I'm very happy that they're showing effort and they're sticking to the system, and it's finally clicking.
This was a P&V win, and there've been a lot of P&V wins the last couple of days. A lot of our commenters, when they were on the losing streak, it was like, oh no, they're the piss and piss Bruins, and no, they're the P&V Bruins right now. You see it. I mean, they do. Like tonight, dare I say, they deserve to win.
More of the comeback kids. Like
they fight. This is the same thing. Like tonight they led, so it wasn't like, the other night in New York. But like they fight. They don't roll over. The one game they rolled over was against Ottawa like a week and a half ago. That's the one game. That's the one game the whole year that I've seen so far that I've said they rolled over, and that was like last year. Other than that, that is an anomaly at this point.
Yeah, they're not the same team as last year. Last year's team was an embarrassment they would have lost this game last year. The term piss and vinegar from Cam Neely, I think, is actually hilarious because it's almost the opposite of the system that Marco Sturm teaches. Yes, the Bruins are, I believe, first in shot blocking in the league, first in hits in the league, but they're always usually in the top of the league. Even when they stink, they're usually at the top of the league in hits. But I find oh, there he is.
He's
man,
here.
Get that guy on the show.
Man.
But I missed that boy. Oh man, that's throwing me off. But I know
I really threw it. That's the comments,
dude.
Court. This throws you off.
It's my guy. Like, last time I was in Boston, we had many a beverage. But
yes.
I really like what Marco Sturm is bringing. It's almost like they're playing like Marco Sturm. Does that make any sense?
I get what you mean. They do. This is them. Like Marco Sturm, from what I've seen so far, is the perfect coach for this roster, for what they are, for what they're trying to be.
And what is that?
A team with a lot of middle to bottom six guys. That's what they still are. And again, like I will take. They've won 6 of 7. They've won 5 in a row. We can get into the bigger picture here in a bit, and I'm sure we will. Of like,
9-7-0, third in the Atlantic.
yeah, like what exactly are they? But you take this, like you're happy with this. The vibes are good. And I think when you say like what are they? I think they're a team that grinds you down. Like tonight was 3-2 in OT. Other night was 4-3. They fought back OT. Game before that was 2-1 against the Hurricanes. Like this is them. They're getting into that low scoring groove that Sturm wants. Beginning of the season, they were losing games because they were scoring 5, but they were giving up 6. And they're not doing
Exactly.
that now. So it's like you can the offense isn't there the way it was at the beginning of the year, but the defense also is much better. The goaltending's been much better. So they're they're still a middle of the pack team. This is not I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh,
Okay, good.
playoff team.
Good.
This
Yes,
is the thing. They went on a 6-game losing streak. They're on essentially a 6-game win streak. Like this is them. They're going to be back and forth. That's what they're going to be.
they could do very well for themselves to win the next 3 games. It'd be very tough. I think it would be very tough to win another game against Ottawa, another game against 2 games against Toronto. I think it'd be tough, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Right now, they're 14th in the league with 3.2 goals per game. I think that number needs to come down to play more Marco Sturm, because when they do score a lot of goals, they tend to leave a lot of open ice and a lot of room. One of the things I was noticing is I was doing a video the other day and going over all the high danger.
Make sure to go subscribe to Bruins Diehards, everybody, by the way.
I was very happy to say what I'm seeing. Like, how when we look at the analytics or we look at the numbers, we're like, oh, I hope what I'm seeing is true. And it was the amount
Yes.
of high danger chances that they were giving up on Korpisalo and Swayman. If you actually look at the underlying numbers of our goaltending hadn't been that bad. It was just our defensive structure. They weren't figuring out the system. And I almost like had a smile on my face in the second period. I'm like, they are not giving up any room. Like Ottawa had a very hard time gaining any space down the middle of the ice, and Boston did a very good job of keeping him to the outside pretty much all game. And I would almost say that even if they lost in overtime, I still would have been like, that was a good game.
I'm completely with you. That's why I was like, I want them to win for this sake of this post game show. I want like the vibes to be as high as they can be. But it's also like if they lost, I would be like, all right, well, they played a good defensive game. Like that's what
Yeah,
they are, Like
100%.
and that's okay. And I think that over the last 6 games last 7 outside of the Ottawa one, obviously in Ottawa, like the lineup hasn't changed for good reason. Like at least on D, I know we can get in Andrew Peeke, but like as a unit, they're defending. And like, granted, I will say Mike Professional, who's an avid commenter of ours. Can we talk Geeky? Weird Optics had a good impact tonight. Then had a bad back check, looked great, and then bad trip. Like he's very Jekyll and Hyde.
But
That
again,
back
he's an
check,
offensive player. Like
he
he's
is.
becoming a Pasternak where you let that go for what he brings. That's all I'm gonna say. You can't have everybody can't be Patrice Bergeron, who I'm gonna meet on Saturday, and I'm very excited about it.
Ooh, what's this? What are you meeting
Yeah,
him on
he's
Saturday?
the Toronto Sports Card Show's in town, and he's gonna be doing a signing, and I got a media pass, and I am going to meet Patrice Bergeron. Not for the first time, but I'm very excited. My daughter will get to meet him for the first time.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. That's great. Yeah, I to me, like as a whole on D, like they're better. The Geeky thing. You're talking about the Geeky thing. I got distracted by a spoke seat comment today. So
Same,
I'm in
same.
that same boat. I think with Geeky, you're right. He is turning into that offensive guy. We saw a couple games ago, I forget which one it exactly was. He did not hustle on a back check, and he got demoted to the third line. And we keep seeing this. And I do like that Sturm does that because he doesn't take him off the top power play unit, and it gives a little boost to the third line, and it kind of reprimands him a little bit. Like, dude, you got to back check a little. And I think that first goal Ottawa scored, it was the whole line that didn't back check, but Geeky was noticeably puck watching and noticeably did not have his feet moving in the neutral zone, and then bada bing, bada boom. They
He
go
did
and
that a couple
score.
times tonight. Even that penalty he got in the overtime, it was almost like you could I was happy in the third period when the Bruins got that penalty. I was like, all right, well, they're gonna lose the game. Like it was there near the end of the game. They got that third
Felt
period.
like
I'm
it,
like,
didn't it?
I felt like Ty was sitting over his computer just waiting to type, like putting
Yes.
out a stat about how the Bruins losing the last minute of a game. I was just like waiting to press enter. But I was happy that they overcame that at the end of the game. But it was almost when Geeky got the penalty, what I didn't like was the body language of him looking at the ref like, oh, well, all right, whatever. I'm going to the box.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Maybe there's something going on we don't know about. Maybe he's pissed off with the coach. Is Marco Sturm? He's happy if people are pissed off, right? But I'm almost getting to the point where that's fine. Like, the guy's going to score me goals, and that's what we need on this team. And as long as they have a guy like Husadinov, who's very good defensively, he's played
Yeah.
bottom six most of his career.
Big hit, no
Or when
T. You see
Lindholm comes
that?
back, Lindholm, I think, has played phenomenal until he got hurt for what he is, a second line center having to play 1C. As long as they've got someone that is responsible, and Pasternak does half of a back check, because he doesn't he doesn't do it too often either. But
No, it is not.
yeah, but he's better at it than Geeky, which is not saying much, but he is. So
I
maybe
know, it
Geeky's
is funny.
leading by example, right? He's like, well, the other guy doesn't have to do it, but the other guy can get 50 goals, so chill.
Well, now Pasternak's put it out there that he thinks Geeky's a 50-goal scorer. So there you go. It's gone to Geeky's head. Mike Professional says, I kind of think Geeky should be on a different line than Pasta. They play similar roles 5-on-5. I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I'm there yet. I think Geeky's a nice scorer. He's proving it. So, like, I give him credit. He hasn't regressed at all. His 10 goals now, like, that's legit production on November 6th. I still want to keep him with Pasternak. I do.
Him and Cutter Gauthier are like fighting for the NHL goal scorer leader right now, which is just
We're in the twilight zone.
yeah, exactly. But Cutter Gauthier's got like what 17% shooting percentage. That's just not gonna stand forever. But
It's not.
the only thing I would say to that is I don't know how you change that second line that is like Middlestat. Did you see how many nice hits Middlestat made tonight? Like, I was like,
I had this
Jesus.
number one on my list. That second line was such a dog in the first little bit of the season, first like 7 or 8 games. They have been completely different. They have long ozone time. Zacha drives play. They're responsible defensively. Arvidsson's speed works with them. Like, that line, that's another reason why you're winning. That line is doing really well.
Yeah, their puck possession numbers are off the charts. Zacha, I'm not saying he's David Krejci. I just hate when people take what you're. He's slowing the game down when he's on the ice, and it's very good. And he's using. It's almost like he's learned Arvidsson. And I believe the last time I was even on the show, I said to you, I was like, the guy just needs to score. Once it happens, that it's just going to keep coming for him. He's taking more chances. He's getting the shots, and it's almost like Zacha's trusting him, saying, "Hey, I'll give you the puck as long as you give it back," or vice versa. And I think Zach has also done a very good job of he's not playing the bumper. He goes to the net. He's like trying to be the sneaky guy sitting off to the side. There's many chances like tonight. He probably could have had like 3 goals. He still had that goal, but like he could have had a couple more. He missed a couple chances. He missed a couple chances the game before. But I think Middlestat has almost found a role of, hey, I'm going to be the dog on the line. I'm just going to go retrieve pucks for you, and you guys do something with it, which is fine. He's found a role. And I think out of all the people that have been sat or been in the doghouse from Marco Sturm, Casey Middlestat has stepped up more and answered the bell more than anybody else on this team.
No question. I think when, Connor and I have talked a lot about like Sturm is pressing the right buttons right now. And I think that's like chief among them. Like the fact that Middlestat was benched in that last game in Utah and he wasn't playing great. And then now he's playing well. And they moved him from center to wing, which is another thing that's worked out really well. And I have never hated Middlestat. I'll also say, ever since those Craig Button comments, as Jack Edwards used to say, Middlestat seems to be playing with a little bee under his bonnet. Like, not for nothing.
Yeah,
he's raising
he's raising his trade capital. I appreciate every minute this second line is doing right.
Well, that's the thing. That's the other thing too. Is like they're playing well, and that's nice. But it's mainly nice because the trade value is going up.
Yeah.
Like, even with Zacha, like, you and I think are on the same page with Zacha, where it's like, I'm not dealing him this second unless someone gives you a phenomenal offer that you can't refuse. But his value is going up, and it was already very high. Middlestat's value has now gone up. Arvidsson's value has now gone up.
Arvidsson's at like a second round pick at the trade deadline. If he continues at this pace, they could possibly have a team be crazy and and do something stupid. But I think, regardless of where they are in the standings, I think Sweeney would be Um, almost, I wouldn't say the word dumb, but naive to not trade Arvidsson, considering he's a UFA. He's not part of the future. Like, get something for him at the trade. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I look at this second line, I look at this team, and I don't know if they can sustain. And they're not a cup contender, and you've got to be more thinking about this 2026 draft. Is like some of the deepest crop we've seen in years. It's like I don't want them to waste this thing that's there. I love the way they're playing. They're playing lunch pail hockey, and I'm here for it. If they play like this every game, the win or lose, I love watching, because the games before that, it was hard to watch. I would be turning it off in the third period. I'm like, I'm done. I can't watch this anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Is like they are like that's the other part. Like we'll get into deadline stuff for Arvidsson and Middlestad, and we probably will do that on every podcast the rest of the year because
Obviously,
that's
I don't
that's
want
the
to move
long term
Zach, though.
stuff.
I'll say that right now. I really
Yeah,
like him, and I think he fits well in the culture of this team. But I do think you could get a haul for him, more than what you got for Coyle.
Oh, I agree completely because the reality is Zaka makes very good money for
Yep.
his contract. Fits everywhere in the lineup. Can go along with it. Can play anywhere.
Yep.
Produces like Coyle. It's like all right, that's probably a third line center. Zaka can be a second line center. Zaka can be a first line left wing. Like there's third line guy. Like there's a lot he can do. But I think one of my takeaways from this game, and you just hit the nail on the head. They're not bad to watch.
Nope.
They're not bad to watch. Like I can't, and maybe it's because we all came in with very low expectations, and we had those losses over and over and over. Um, but this has been a pleasant surprise. Like I will take this. I will sit here and let the vibes rain on us because I think I expected worse. Um, but I also still had them around 500. I didn't expect them to win, like lose 6 in a row and then basically win 6 in a row. I didn't expect that. And I think going forward here, you have Toronto twice, you've got Montreal, like you're gonna go back and
You
forth
got
with
some
wins and
hard teams to
losses.
play against, even though the Leafs stink this year. Like they do. They're playing a little bit better now, but they have not been playing good hockey at all. But I just look at some of the positives that we got to take from it. Like, yeah, like right there, that Minton trade, like that's hilarious because Easton Cowan just got sent down to the minors, and all over Toronto radio now, they're all getting mad that they didn't trade Easton Cowan and they didn't keep Minton, because there was a couple times when Minton was jumping in, and I thought it spoke volumes that the second pair to go out on the ice during the 4-on-4 overtime was Husadinov and Minton.
Yep.
Marco Sturm
Yeah.
trusts them both. You don't put them out there. He wanted those speed, because I thought Minton showed so much speed tonight. He had a couple speed wobbles where he lost the puck and got ahead of himself. I think it was during the second or the third period. He broke into the other zone, and almost like he did a deke and didn't realize the puck wasn't even on his stick anymore. That's fine. He's trying to find his groove, but he gets better and better every game. I think during this winning streak, you've had Minton playing great. You've had Husadinov playing great. You've also had, coincidentally, Charlie McAvoy being one of the best defensemen on the ice. Him and Zadorov like trade each game who's going to be the most dominant defenseman
I thought
for.
you were gonna say trade them. I was like,
No.
where are you
Trade
going
between
for
like
this?
the game
Yes, I
before,
know
I
what
thought
you mean.
Zadorov played phenomenal, and then this game I thought McAvoy was dominant out there. Like it was like it was like Ottawa took his lunch money and he got pissed off.
McAvoy has been fantastic. I got into him a little bit after the last Ottawa game, that loss. Him and Zadorov have been night and day. Like
Yeah,
that
since he got
pairing now
it sounds
works.
terrible, since he's no longer with Mason Lohrei and having to overcome the defensive lapse, he looks more comfortable on the ice. Like, heck, he's leading the team in assist. Well, him and Pasternak are tied for leading assist, but I thought he's looked great, and I thought Zadorov's looked great. It's I just want more of that. McAvoy's game is better when he is able to hit and not have to run around the ice and try and be Ray Bork on the ice. He just looks good.
I, McAvoy's looked really good. There were some comments earlier that alluded to that. He's been great. Like McAvoy's been solid in OT. He was super effective. Um, I like him, and I think that's been a big again. Like the reason that you've won 6 of 7 is your guys like McAvoy, Zadorov have been better. Your D have been way better. And I agree with you. You said this earlier, and I meant to agree with you back then, but I'll agree with you now. The goaltending was fine at the beginning. It was the underlying numbers showed that those guys were just playing behind a horrendous decor.
Unbelievable. If you look at Swayman's underlying numbers, he's like in the top of the league for like goals saved expected. Like he was like he's actually having a decent year. It's just, and I'm not want to say defense. I want to say team defense has been atrocious. Like
Yeah.
dog poop, like just unbelievably bad. The amount of times we watch a replay, and if you like stop after a goal scored, you have a player from the opposing team in front of the net and no one there. No one there. Just flybys, no one's covering them. And it's very hard for goalies to make those saves. Yes, you get, the other night, Swayman probably should have had that one again. I think it was like the third goal.
Mhm.
He should have had it, but he made some unbelievable saves and he was unreal in the shootout. But we don't remember that because we'd rather just focus on the one thing. That's just the way people don't look at the whole. They always just look at the one thing that they want to point out. Like Corpusalo, some of his starts scare me because his first periods are not good. It's like he needs to get into the game to be good. Ty put out that stat about those the first goals. If you look, they're almost like 80% of them are Corpusalo. First goal, first shot goes in. It's like crazy on this
So
guy.
interesting. I didn't see that. I didn't
Yes,
see that
Ty put out
stat.
a stat about, like, what the Bruins, like, letting in the first goal and how quickly it's happening, and a lot of the times it's either on the 3rd shot or the first shot of the game, which is which is
Huh.
nuts. Swayman's let it in a couple times, but Korpisalo's let in that first shot a lot this year, but I feel he gets better and better as the game gets on. Like, by
Well,
the 3rd period, he becomes a wall.
like the Pinto chance Smeeth is alluding to, like 3 shots in tight, Korpisalo's down and out, makes them all. Now you can make the argument that Korpisalo should have had that second goal that Ottawa had that kind of slipped through his blocker.
Oh, no,
You make up for
but
it
he's
with
Claude
those.
Giroux, though. That's a good player.
It is a good player. It is a good player, but that's a shot from the outside. I'd have to go back and look and see if there was a screen. I know that Yoki Haru was moving the forward in front out of the way. I don't know if Korpisalo fully saw it, but it did. I mean, it was just kind of one that snuck through his blocker. But again, like makes up for it with the Pinto saves, big saves in OT. Like Korpisalo's been great. Again, like your defense the last bunch of games has been fantastic. By the way, Jonathan Aspero, I don't mind him.
Defensive defenseman, I don't mind him at all. I actually, when I did my grading, I said it's gonna be hard to take him out of the lineup. And it seems Sturm seems to really like him because after every game, I'm trying to notice who he mentions. He mentions Aspero a lot. He mentions Minton a lot. He mentions Husadinov a lot. And he mentions Pasternak, Zadorov, and McAvoy. Those seem to be his favorite players. I think
Mhm.
Pasternak can do no wrong, and that kind of makes sense. He's really good. Like, who we
Yeah,
kidding?
it
But
works.
Aspero, he's very good defensively. I'm not expecting him to chip in anything, but in Sturm's system, he's good. He's good in that system. It works for him.
He is. I don't think he's a great skater, but his gaps are good and he steps up well and he's a good stick.
And he's
And
very
like
good at getting guys in front of the net.
yeah, if you're gonna put him on that third pair and have him face third and fourth lines or sometimes second lines, and I forget if he's on one of the PK units, but I assume like he's out there. I just don't know exactly which unit it is, but whatever he is, like fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. I think that's one of the tough parts too, Court, is like when it comes to getting Lohrei back in the lineup, this decor is working. We'll talk about Andrew Peeke, but like it's it's working. And initially it was like, oh, Aspero's gonna go in for a game or two, and then you know he'll be out. But he's been good. Like Sturm talked a lot about him today at morning skate because Steve Conroy was asking about him a ton, and Sturm couldn't have been more complimentary. And it was again the same thing tonight. It was steady Eddie back there, so it's like he's not coming out.
Yeah, and I don't
Like
he's not in the PK because you got Lindholm, Zadorov on the left side. I don't see him getting
oh,
in.
you're right.
Yeah, maybe he gets in every now and then. I still think it's interesting because I think his comments about, because you brought up Lohrei, his comments about Lohrei needing Court, you can't make a Bork reference to Evan. He's, oh wow, Jesus, that's not nice. Come on now. We all
I am young, Jim. You're right. You're right. I am young. I am young.
uh anyways, um the Mason Lohrei, he eventually is gonna have to be brought back in this lineup.
Agreed. Agreed.
So
Sorry, everybody. I know everybody's gonna get on us for this, but can't leave him out
eventually you got to
forever.
put him back in the lineup. You can't. I talked about this today. You can't send him to the minors because he won't clear waivers. And then everybody's gonna be like, well, we don't care. He sucks. But guess what? If you let him go for nothing, it's terrible asset management. My hope is right now, like Sturm saying, like, I hope he's mad. Sturm, give me a break. At this point, he's pissed off. Like, there's nothing else you can talk about. This guy, when he finally gets in the lineup, if he doesn't play like he's been shot out of a cannon and trying to run through a wall and kill everybody on the ice, then I don't know what to say about him. But my hope is that he reached out or Chara reached out. Talk to Zdeno Chara. Like, try and figure out what you can do, because unfortunately in this system, there's nothing else you can do with this kid. You either play him or sit him. You can't. I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't think that's the right answer. If you look at his underlying numbers analytically, his offensive numbers are phenomenal. And honestly, like, people are like, oh, he's terrible. I'm like, he doesn't even have the worst plus minus on the back end. He's just had a couple, 5 games where he has been the worst player on the ice. And that's the reason he's sitting out. And you can't have that, especially when you're losing. It magnifies it, how bad he is. And he made Charlie McAvoy look bad.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. But if you're going to sit out anybody, maybe Peeke needs to take a seat.
Yeah, I want to get into that because you have an interesting thought on Peeke. But real quick, Elliot Friedman talked on Sportsnet about Lohrei. He said, quote, I don't know that there's anything going on trade-wise with Mason Lohrei, but I do know that when a talented young player like him sits 4 games in a row, now 5, others call and ask, what's up? I'm not trading him right now.
No,
I'm not. Like, first of all, you're selling low. That's never a good idea.
Very low. You get like a 3rd round pick for it right now. You look like an idiot.
You're right that it's bad asset management if you're dealing him right now. And by the way, as you said, like, he has the offensive upside. So again, like, we used to say for years with Lohrei, okay, like the ceiling is like he's John Carlson. And the floor is more like, oh, he's a 3rd pairing power play specialist. Like, you can work around that.
He's a Shane Goss despair.
Yes, that's what Connor always says. That's a great one. I like that Court. Shane Goss despair. You can work with that. Now, again, in this system, Lohrai's not really meant for this system.
That's what I think. I don't think he's made for a Sturm system at all.
He's not made for Sturm system, but can be on your second power play. If Lindholm gets hurt again, which hopefully doesn't happen, he's quarterbacking it. You could even make the argument he should be quarterbacking power play 1. Like, there's offensive upside there. And by the way, he's young with, I'm repeating myself, but high upside. You don't have a ton of young guys with high upside in the
Especially
system
on the back end at all.
Yeah, you don't have
Unfortunately, he would look amazing in San Jose.
He would.
He would look amazing in San Jose.
He'd put up 70 points.
Yeah, no one will care
actually,
because they don't care about the defensive deficiencies.
No.
I think you hit the nail on the head that he doesn't fit the defensive system. That's not what he is. So when he plays in that system, we look at it and go, oh my God, he looks terrible. And people can say it till they're blue in the face, trade this guy. You can't have everybody be a 2-way defensive defenseman. You can't. You're not going to win hockey games. You can't win a game 0-0. It's not going to happen. You need guys that generate offense. That's like saying trade David Pastrnak because all he does is score goals. Because his defensive laps are huge, but we forgive him because he's David Pastrnak. Mason Lohrei is young. He didn't start playing defense till he's 16 years old. There is so much potential there. And I know we're both saying potential, but he is the perfect 7th defenseman now in a Marco Sturm system. You can play him based on the matchup. But I think he'll probably get in one of these games in the next 3 games. But I don't think he's going to get in the lineup until they lose.
I'm in your camp on this. Yeah.
He's not.
I agree.
Marco Sturm played in the NHL. He's been in the dressing rooms. He knows how it is. He's probably going, I don't want to mess with this right now. Like, he is not coming out of the lineup unless if Peeke got hurt in this game, okay, then Mason Lohrei goes in the lineup because I think they've made it clear they're not bringing up anybody from Providence. They might have to now with Beecher going down, but they don't want to bring anybody up because Providence is just running on all cylinders right now. Why mess with it?
Yeah, and you're running on all cylinders up here now too. Like, I agree. I think it would be a loss or it would be an injury. But even if they lost tonight, Like, let's say they lose 3-2 in OT. Like, you're still not changing the D. Like, as we said, it was still fine. Like, it would be like you go to Toronto and you lose 5-2, and you have defensive breakdowns, and it's like, all right, this has been cool. We're gonna switch things up. Maybe not forever, but Lohrei's coming back in. You mentioned Peeke. What are your thoughts on Andrew Peeke?
My thought is he is supposed to be a defensive stalwart. He, played in the World Championship for Team USA, and for some reason, he is having more troubles than anybody else on that back end that is not named Mason Lohrei with man-to-man and switching off and covering and not chasing. It's almost like he's got his head on a swivel a lot, and his stick isn't active. It's almost like sometimes on some shifts he looks disinterested. I understand that he got 2 assists, but I say this all the time about assists. He just happened to pass to the right person.
Yeah.
Like it's not David Pastrnak doing a seam pass or
No.
like feeding it through a couple people's
No.
legs. He is literally just trying to get it out of the zone so it's no longer in front of him, and then it goes up the ice and it goes in.
Yep.
Or he has a pretty decent shot from the point. His offense has been better than his defense, and that's not Andrew Peake's game. Andrew Peeke is supposed to be a shutdown guy, moving bodies in front of the net, being tough in the corners, and I'm just not seeing it from him. So if Marco Sturm is going to continue, and I am of the mind that you should sit guys and you should send messages all the time. I am the guy that watches my daughter's team play, and they're a
Oh God.
U11 hockey team sometimes, and I see a disinterested third period. I'm like, well, someone needs a dick practice on on the next day. Like someone needs a bag skate, and they're not going to do it. These are kids, but I watch the Bruins sometimes, and that's just what I grew up with. You have a bad game, you bag skate them. You have a bad practice, and I think Marco Sturm is that type of a coach, and I think eventually, if Peeke doesn't figure this out, he's gonna be the odd man out to be coming back and forth in the lineup. Yuki Haru doesn't do bad things, doesn't do good things. He's like that guy that you don't have to notice, so that's fine.
He's the lineman. That's what he is. He's an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Like if you don't notice him, he's fine. And I don't really notice him that much.
I
So
don't.
it's like, all right, well,
I noticed
okay.
Zadorov, I noticed McAvoy, but I noticed them for good things. I noticed them for their bad things too, but at the same time, way more their good things outweigh. Like Zadorov, what he did to Matthew Schaefer the other night in Long Island, I thought was
Hilarious.
fantastic because the fact that didn't use his stick, he used his glove. I made it even better.
I will say though, Zadorov, Geeky, Middlestat had the puck in their own zone in overtime, and I was like, "Uh-oh, here it comes!" Like this is not the 3 guys I want in 3-on-3 overtime with the puck in their own
100%, but
zone.
Zadorov's got some wheels every
He
now and then.
does. Oh yeah, no, like once or twice a game, he'll just like zip it, and I love it. Like
And also,
he has it.
coincidentally, Hampus Lindholm's back on the lineup and they're winning hockey games.
Yes, yes. Like it's a winning quotient. Like
He's steady Eddie. He does
he
everything
is.
right. He doesn't do anything wrong. He's not gonna go out there and get 3 goals or like 15. He's not gonna do all that. He's just not gonna make mistakes. I think he's the perfect guy for Marco Sturm's system.
I agree. I agree. He fits perfectly. I want to get into more of this game. Someone commented, who was it? It was Kylie Smith. Do you guys see Sturm as the longer term coach for this team? But first, our friends over at PrizePicks. This episode's brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Morgan Geeky continues to score. I take more than 0.5 goals for him. I like that. And David Pastrnak's always a safe one. And I also, the other thing, by the way, I like, and it worked for me tonight, more saves on whoever's in net for the Bruins. I think that's also
We're
a
getting
good one,
outshot way
especially
too
going
much.
into
This was the first game in a long time we weren't getting outshot, which I was happy to see because that has been a very bad pattern. But again,
yes,
like I
it
said,
has.
second period, all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, they figured it out. Like it
Yeah,
was unbelievable how much they were keeping the Ottawa Senators the outside. And the Ottawa Senators are a very fast and young team, and they drive to the net. And the Boston Bruins did a very good job of keeping them to the outside.
they did. They did. Prize pick simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which I used tonight and it worked, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Marco Sturm. Marco Sturm. Do you guys see Sturm as the longer term coach? I like what he's doing right now. He's pressing all the buttons, which is and it's working. That's good. It's only been 16 games. And I would also say he is doing this with a roster that doesn't have the high end talent that you hope that this roster has in 2 to 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
I
they
don't know
don't
what
have
that.
high end talent. They got like 5 guys.
Yeah, if that. So like I don't know what he's gonna do with that kind of guys. It's great that he's doing it with this crew and he's doing his job. Like I'm not like harping on him, but like to sit here and say, hey, when Hagens is up and in his prime and Pasternak is in it, 32, 33, and your other draft picks are up, what's that going to look like? I don't know. So that's why I can't sit here and be like, yep, Sturm is the guy for the next
Yeah,
5+
way too
years.
early to say that.
Too
And I
early.
think some of the things that worry me is Sweeney's only got 2 years, and say the Bruins lose their next 6 in a row. Not saying they're going to, but let's say
That
the
would be
Bruins lose their six in a
hilarious.
row. Because
Just because trading sixes,
I because I brought it up only if you look at last year at this time, this is when things went downhill. This is when Cam went on the road trip,
Yep.
and then they won that game in St. Louis, and it was like, all right, he's not fired.
By the way,
But
the
we all knew
Blues
that.
right now are not good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into why Jim Montgomery's he's he's all right. He's a one and done coach. He's very good to come in for 1 year, and then you got to get rid of him because being everybody's best friend and buddy just doesn't work that long. It just unfortunately the room just doesn't approve that. If you're being a coach, you can't be everybody's buddy. A very successful coach in the NHL told me that a really long time ago, and he's right. The guy's won everywhere he's been. You can't be everybody's best friend, and when they don't like you, oh well, move on. It is what it is. But Marco Sturm is not trying to be everybody's best friend, but I think the only issue with Marco Sturm being a long-term coach in Boston is if say they do lose, Marco Sturm's not the guy that gets fired this year.
No, not at
Cam
all.
Neely has 1 bullet. That's all he gets before he's fired. So if the Boston Bruins went on like huge skid and they don't make the playoffs again because ownership wants playoffs, it's Sweeney's head on a. Even though I think Don Sweeney's done a good job, I know people will not agree with me, and that's fine. But I think
I'm in your
many
court.
teams would line up to take Don Sweeney as a GM. But the Boston Bruins want to make the playoffs every year. The only person I think they would ever be on the hot seat this year, and he's not right now. I'm not saying he is Don Sweeney. And if Don Sweeney gets fired and they bring in a new GM, that new GM might want his own guy.
100%.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason it would be tough. But if the Boston Bruins make the playoffs, I don't know. He ain't going. Sweeney ain't going anywhere.
No, and I think it speaks to Sturm. If this team willed its way into the playoffs and continued playing like this, like
They
yeah,
get knocked
Sturm,
out in the first round.
they 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I would have no faith in them going deep, but just getting in. It's like in 2017 when Cassidy took over. That first round against the Senators. Like they were banged up as hell, but there was really no faith they were winning that series. That Senators team was filthy.
Oh, Carlson stretched them so much. It was hilarious. That stretch
Yeah,
pass was just destroying them. It was just like this bomb that goes over their head every 2 seconds, and it was just like they couldn't do anything.
they couldn't. But like just getting in. They got into field goal range. That's all that mattered. And I think this team this year, like if you just got in, I say like even if you as long as you're like I don't expect them to make the playoffs. I still don't expect them to make the playoffs.
Same.
What I do expect them to do is be around it.
Yeah.
Don't be completely out of it. Like that's to me, that's what this roster is, and that's what
Top
they've
10 pick,
been.
not a top 5 pick.
Oh, completely. Completely. I mean, I agree. It's they're picking like 7 through like I'm not saying like they picked 7th last year. They really finished like 4th or 5th. But you know what
5th.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
finishing actually like 7th to 13th. I
Hey,
think
look at the
that's the
Islanders. They
range that
finished
they're in.
11th and they had first overall, and they
That's
got
right.
probably soon to be the best defenseman in the NHL in the next couple of years because that kid is sick.
That's right.
Like he'll be
That's
on Team
right.
Canada for like it's unbelievable. He won't play, but he'll be on that team. Him and Macklin Celebrini are going to be on Team Canada.
Oh, those two, Celebrini and Schaefer are so freaking fun to watch. I mean,
Unbelievable. Schaefer's
like
crazy good.
Yeah, that
The
kid
Islanders
has
suck, and
wheels.
Schaefer makes them good.
I know,
Like,
they're exciting now, which is
and
crazy.
that's what can be exciting for Bruins fans. We're watching a team try, and we got watched a whole year of a team not trying, and tonight I watched the game, and I was like, was a fun game to watch." Like, it was
Yes,
a very fun game to watch tonight.
and the
It
Islanders was the
really
same the
needed a
other night,
fight, though. It needed a fight.
and the Kastelic one didn't really do it because
No,
they
he
gave him a hard
tried,
time
though.
immediately. I
I
know.
In fairness to Mark Kastelic, who is the toughest guy on this team, and it's definitely not Tanner Jeannot, um, he wanted to go. He was playing his former team, and kudos to Sturm. I don't know if anybody knew that. So last year, Montgomery, for some reason, whenever they play Ottawa, didn't give the start to Korpisalo. Sturm tonight, regardless whether Swayman should have got the start because he played well enough that he should keep him in the net, played the Ottawa Senators, and they gave him the start. And I think that was the right thing to do. Again, hockey player coaching the team and treating it like it's the dressing room is just like he's part of the dressing room, but at the same time holding them accountable. But when you play your former team, you want as a goalie, you want that start. You want that start.
Yeah, and he's been pretty good against Ottawa in the past, if memory serves. I
Yeah,
think.
he played one game against them last year, and then Montgomery. Then again, what Montgomery did to Swayman last year was I don't know. I still don't think it was his. I think he was just a puppet, and he did whatever. He didn't care. He wanted to be
Oh, yeah.
fired. He didn't care.
1 foot out in St. Louis, that's for sure.
100%.
Um, Jack D says they're making the playoffs. I think you're forgetting how mediocre half the league is if they keep up the effort they're in. I mean, if they keep playing as disciplined, structured hockey, sure. My only thing is like you're gonna have nights where you're disciplined and structured like this and you lose.
100%. Tonight they
Like
could have lost. It was a coin flip in overtime. I think they dominated in overtime. If I also want the regrouping to be banned and made it a penalty in the NHL. I'm
yes, I
absolutely
completely
tired of
agree.
regrouping. Tired of
Oh, it makes
regrouping.
it so slow. 3 on
Oh,
3 overtime really should be like 50 seconds. That's what it
and
should. Like no, I'm
100%.
not saying like cap it at 50, but I'm saying like it should be over pretty
Once you
quick.
cross center, you can't come back. And
I
this
agree.
new thing now, the passing into their goalie, every team's doing it now. They don't
Yep.
regroup, they just throw it down to their goalie and let the goalie play with it. And Korpisalo is good with playing the puck, so I totally get by doing that. But I'm just like, it's painful to watch because the game would be over soon. But you're right, Korpisalo made some great saves in OT. I think the Husadinov Minton line really kind of tilted the ice the other way and allowed Zaka. You could almost feel like Zaka was going to do something because he just played a very good game. Pasternak doesn't get his first shot on net until overtime, which is crazy. But
Yeah.
I thought
People are
Zach
asking
was
and people
that
are
sec sorry?
no, continue.
I just
I'll
thought
say it again.
Zaka was the best player on the ice for the Boston Bruins.
He's been great. He has been phenomenal, and he was phenomenal again tonight. A lot of people are mentioning Pasternak in the comment section, saying what's going on with him. He hasn't been the same. I don't know. I've he
He's
hasn't
looked the
been
same
is
to me. I don't know. I see
the,
nothing
the
wrong with him.
the points haven't been there as much as they were at at the beginning, but like he's still been effective. Like I haven't been
He's dishing the puck off a lot more, and, my
yes.
guess is when they sit down and do the videos, Sturm's gonna be like, "Hey, do me a favor, shoot the puck.
Yes.
Just shoot the puck, dude."
He also likes to change his angles on his shots, which I do like because it futzes with the goalies. But sometimes it's like, dude, just shoot it. You don't have to do,
Well,
just shoot it.
Pasta's a big, gets the monkey on his back type guy, and he's got a monkey on his back right now. So he's
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh, I've done that before, it didn't work." I mean, he thinks a lot about how he plays the game. So he is right now getting frustrated with himself about that. So then you notice that last year when he can't score, he starts being Adam Oates on the ice. He's deciding, you know, let's make the sweetest pass possible. And his passing game is probably one of the best on this team besides Hampus Lindholm. So
Oh yeah.
Pasternak is fine. He's not injured. I don't see anything wrong with his skating. I just see him not shooting enough. And
I agree.
that's all. He starts
Eh,
shooting more, it goes in. And if you think about it, his one shot almost went in.
Yeah.
He almost
Yeah.
scored on his one shot.
And by the way, remember, like you've Hustendinov down the middle, who's done his job. Like Hustendinov you're seeing more out of him. He's not, is he a number one center of the future? Absolutely not.
No, not a chance.
But he's serviceable. He's got speed. He's good defensively. High compete. Like
But
has
he's
some
not a
skill.
passer like Lindholm.
No, no, and
You
he
know what I mean?
and
Pasta needs that guy.
As Pasternak has said, I'll cater myself to your game, knowing like I don't want him having to change his whole game for me. And this is not a long-term fix. I want this guy to succeed up here in the small amount of time that he's here for, but he's not here for very long. Once Elias Lindholm comes back, that'll
And
be
I
that.
think once Elias Lindholm comes back, Pastor starts scoring again because Morgan Geeky isn't he isn't known for passing. So
No. Although he did have a nice pass was across to Pastrnak
he does,
in
but
OT. I'll give him that.
and people remember we're about to play the Leafs twice, and there is one team that David Pastrnak feasts on more than any other
Ooh,
team in the NHL, and
damn
that's the
right.
Toronto Maple Leafs. He's
Damn
scored more
right.
goals against them than anybody else.
Someone asked in the comments, I want to address this. Said Bruins should trade for Jordan Kyrou, and I see it on Twitter today.
Sure, but what are you going to get for him? Because St. Louis ain't getting away for free, and he's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Sure, you could throw Mason Lohrei in there, but I don't be scared, Bruins fans. They're going to ask for James Higgins as well.
Yeah, I mean
So
you're definitely
they're
giving
not
up
going to trade
a
Higgins, but they're going
first.
to ask him. Oh yeah, they want a top A prospect for him.
Yeah,
If St. Louis Blues are not throwing in the towel right now, so they're also going to want not just Mason Lohrei. They probably would want Fraser Minton, Mason Lohrei, and a top A prospect.
so that would be Higgins, Minton, and Lohrei. You think?
Well, if you put, the Bruins are going to be Higgins will be a non-starter, right?
I
So
agree. You should not be trading James
it could
Higgins.
be
Is where I
Will
would say
Zellers,
no.
right? Like they're going to want huge for Jordan Kyrou. So if everybody wants him, that's fine, but it's going to cost you a ton to get that guy. You're not getting a player like that for nothing. This is not a Taylor Hall trade.
I agree. But the one good thing I'll give the one prop I'll give the Bruins on this, for the first time in a long time, they have pieces to get a guy like this. For years, when a guy came up in the trade market, it was like they don't have the pieces, they don't have the picks, they don't have the prospects. They actually do. Now, do I like? Yeah, he fits you for sure. He can play center. He can play the wing. He's a high end offensive guy. This team needs high end offensive guys. No duh. I do want them to make their first round picks court.
Same. I
Like,
don't want them trading any picks, and I also don't think Jordan Kyrou would be a big fan of Marco Sturm's defense first system.
no, he wouldn't. And I just like I've heard a lot of people with the Bruins on a little win streak here being like, no, they need to lose these games. They need to lose. They need to get the highest possible pick. And you might disagree with me, and I'm curious to hear what the comments think. To me, it's you just need to make your picks. Like the draft is typically good enough that if you're picking 12th, you should get a good player.
You're going to
Not
have
saying you're
2
getting Matt
picks in the
Schaefer.
first round.
Yes. Yes. So like again, if you're picking, let's say 12th and 20th or 21st, whatever, those are 2 good players. Those are 2 those should be legit guys. And I mean, you even look, and this is, I guess it's unfair, but it's the current state of the Bruins. McAvoy was picked 14. Pastrnak was picked 25. Now, again, you're not getting David Pastrnak in the 20s, most likely, but you should get a good player. And by the way, this first round coming up, at least early signs, a lot of defensemen in the top 15 or so. So like their biggest one of their I'd say it's probably their biggest organizational need aside from high-end talent, high-end offensive talent. They got nobody coming up on D. I mean, you have Brunet down in Providence. But like they didn't really address the right side on D in this past draft. So like that should be one of your firsts. Should be a defenseman.
Hey, all I keep hoping for is Victor Arvidsson somehow gets over 20 goals so they can get another first round pick for next year. And they have
Well, this is the
3 in
thing,
that
Court.
first
Like
round.
people get crazy at the deadline. We've talked about this 1,000 times. I'm not saying that that's
Pavel
definite, but
Zacha
like,
could net you a first and a top end prospect. And I'm not saying
yes,
a top 6 prospect, but I'm talking about another guy like Fraser Minton. You could get a first and another guy like Fraser Minton for Pavel Zacha. But
oh,
I
yeah,
also want to say this because I see the word tanking. No team tanks. No team
mhm,
purposely loses. I know way too many NHLers. I've asked this question from so many guys, and some of them seem insulted by that question. Just
mhm.
they may look like they're tanking purposely. What the Bruins did last year was Don Sweeney just traded away everybody. He didn't have them tank. He just put mediocre. He put an AHL team on the ice. That's what he
Yes,
did. He was like, "You guys don't want to tank? I'll make you tank. I'll trade everybody away." That's how.
yes.
That's not tanking. You guys are still going out there. They're always giving effort. It's just, you know, I still say yes. It's great that the Bruins are winning right now, but they're gonna come back down to earth. They're gonna play really hard teams, and people are going to blame Swayman for the loss, and we're going to get back to normal, people. Don't worry. You can get mad at Jeremy Swayman again. It's going to be okay.
That's right. Well, let's think, like, I can't say this enough. Enjoy this.
Yes.
Enjoy this. Soak it in. Be happy tomorrow. Walk 5 feet off the ground. Like,
Remember
this is
2016?
good. Yeah, that's right. Miserable ass year.
Yeah.
You remember last year? Miserable ass year. Drama, though. A lot of drama for you and I.
Well,
Court
there was
content
a
creators,
ton of
lot.
drama, and I now believe the rumors there was drama in that room. You don't trade those players that you trade, and there wasn't something going on in that room. You traded specifically like the leadership team.
Yep.
Like
The
bing,
whole
bing,
thing.
bing, bing.
Yeah. Marchand, Coyle, Carlo.
Like
By the way, Trent Frederick, 1 goal in 15 games for
well,
Edmonton
by
so
the way,
far.
I've always said the guy he's a trash panda. Like he's not. I'll never understand. I'm almost positive people in Boston loved him because he punched people in the face, and they were like, "Oh, Trent Frederick Fight Club." He was a reach in the first round. He was a third
Yes.
round pick at best. And Edmonton Oilers gave him a huge deal. And Oilers fans hate the guy. They hate him just as much as Linus Ullmark is having a terrible year in Ottawa. So these are facts. Mark Kastelik looks like Kastelik's great. He's always going to give you what you want. But Trent Frederick, woof. Wasn't good in Boston, not good in Edmonton.
Yeah,
Shocker.
I was at a work party for my girlfriend the other night, and there was a coworker there, and we were talking Bruins, and he was like, "They need a guy like Frederick." I was like, "No, they don't. No, they don't. They absolutely don't." And it was clear, and I was happy they dealt him last year because it didn't work here. Then to give him an 8-year deal.
Tanner
First
Jeannot
of all,
is better than Trent Frederick.
by the way, yes, I will give DJ Chips. I agree. Good for Frederick. Get your deal. Get your money.
100%.
Like, I'm
100%.
always team player. Get as much money in years.
bag.
Like Tanner. Same with Tanner Jeannot. Like, I disagreed with the contract, but dude, 5-year deal. Hell yeah, take that. Good for you.
Tonight.
Yeah.
I thought he played a better game tonight, but I also think he's right up there with Henry Yukihiru. I guess I don't notice him, and that's fine. Because it's pissing me off when I see Zadorov have to be the tough guy, when I'm like, you are paying a guy to be that, and he is not that. He is a pussycat on the ice. Your toughest guys are Nikita Zadorov, Charlie McAvoy, and Mark Kastelik.
Yeah.
Not Tanner Jeannot.
You haven't seen it from Jeannot, really.
At all. Not even a little bit.
Haven't.
He tried like one game to fight and do something, but I don't see it at all. I see him like, hey, I'm gonna go out there and get 20 goals. Please stop.
Yeah, it's not there.
I don't want Zadorov and McAvoy lead the team in penalty minutes, the 24 minutes each. I don't want those guys need to be on the ice. For the Boston Bruins to continue to win hockey games, those two need to be on the ice. So Tanner Jeannot, why don't you go up to them like, I got this? Because Kastelik does his job. Go out, do your job.
Do we miss Jake DeBrusk?
No. That was that was quick, eh? Yeah, not a chance. Do I miss Oreo Cookie Boy?
Morgan Geeky has essentially replaced that production.
Except he's not a whiny baby.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know what? I should of all people, I'm not going to talk about Jake DeBrusk. Let's leave it.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
I think they're in a good spot. Like they're in a better spot than I thought they'd be. It's funny though, like with those losses, most that losing streak they had, most of them were 1-goal games.
100%.
And they got bad puck luck at times. They were terrible in their own zone, but they cleaned that up. And the puck's luck's going their way, and they're getting good goaltending. And I like that Korpisalo is pushing Swayman. I like this, and I like how Sturm is managing this. I think that's a really good thing. And you're seeing it with Swayman. Swayman played well. I mean, the goals he let in Long Island were not great, but like as you said earlier,
only one goal was bad. Only one goal was bad in Long Island because I think that first goal from Duclair, that was literally the typical David Pastrnak goal. If you watch the very first angle of it, no one saw that puck coming.
Yeah, it was from far out.
Yeah. The Bo Horvat goal, 100%. Yeah, I think it was Connor put out the tweet. You really want him to save that one, but he made so many other good saves that it's like you can't. As Boston sports fans, we're so quick to dump on a goalie for one bad goal, but we'll let a player make 15 giveaways in a game. But if they score a goal, we're like, he's the best ever.
Yes.
Or if he punches someone in the face, we're like, he's my favorite player in the world. So,
Yes.
like I said, I went through the underlying numbers on Swayman, and I was actually shocked on how good they were. And I was like, okay, it really is the defense. That the
Yes.
defensive structure, not the defense.
Yes.
I want to correct that, but because I think Zadorov has played well, I think McAvoy's played well. I think the Bruins will continue. Um, if they continue on this way, Swayman and Korpisalo's numbers will change. Because if you take out those one really bad game from Korpisalo where he gets destroyed and one really bad game from Swayman, their goals against average and stuff is not bad.
I agree. I agree. Friendly reminder, make sure to go subscribe to Bruins Rinkside on YouTube. Lots of great stuff. We're going to do these more and more. Also, make sure to go subscribe to Bruins Diehards. Court always has great stuff. Make sure to check him out. Subscribe there. GSPH or GSP Hockey. This is crazy, but how many more goals does Geeky need for Team Canada consideration? You can probably
0.
speak on this
He's
better than
not
I
gonna be on
can.
that team.
No, I don't think
As a
so.
Canadian,
I was going to let
want
you
to speak
handle
for
it.
my country on this show? No. I
You
will
can.
also say those jerseys that they showed today are terrible, and we are not happy as a country. Like, we have old school Canada jerseys, just go back to those. But
Yeah.
I don't see right now the person they're talking about as the extra forward is Macklin Celebrini, who's leading the league in scoring. That's who right now in Canada as we're talking, our extra forward will be Macklin Celebrini, not Morgan Geeky.
Yeah, I with you. Like, you're too deep up there. Geeky's a fun story and he's productive,
100%.
but Celebrini,
But
yes,
we just talked
Celebrini
about
is
how
too
much
good.
defensive liability he's been lately. You are not playing for Bruce Cassidy and John Cooper that way. Oh my
I
goodness
forgot
me.
about that end of it too. Bruce
Oh,
Cassidy would have a conniption. That would
oh,
not
100%. Right
ooh,
now, Canada's issue is goaltending. But I look at the schedule coming up. You've got um, in Toronto, Sway gets that start. Maybe Sway gets the next 2 starts against Toronto, and then Korpisalo gets the next start against Ottawa.
So you thinking Swayman gets 2 straight against the Leafs and then
Possibly.
back to
And then
Korpisalo for
Korpisalo gets
Ottawa.
the Ottawa game, and then Sway gets the Montreal game. Depending on how he plays against Toronto.
Yeah,
Right? If
I'm
he's
fine
your
with that.
starting goalie and Sturm has said, like, he's our starter, then you put him against the Leafs. But I think the way they've been doing the starts, it almost reminds me of that year with Hudobin, where, Rask would get 3, Hudobin would get 1, and sometimes Rask would get 2, and Hudobin would get 1. But you look at it, you got 8th, 11th, 13th. That's a 6th, 8th, 11th. Like, they're playing a lot of it's almost like back-to-backs. Like, so you're gonna both of them are gonna split these starts, I would think. So maybe they even split it. Maybe I just would think that Sturm's gonna try and give him that Ottawa game again.
Yeah, this also reminds me a little of the Halak Rask years too.
That
Like
too.
Halak would push him and they would and Bruce would go to Halak quite a bit. I remember even in 2019, there was like a real push that people wanted Halak to start the Winter Classic. Like he was that good that year, I remember, and a lot of people wanted that. So, and I don't know if that's happening this year, but you're getting
I
something out of Corpusalo.
I'll
Yeah.
never stop laughing at when people used to, like, say the backup was better than Tuukka Rask. The guy that's
Yes.
probably gonna make the Hockey Hall of Fame next year. The
Yes.
people in Boston used to say the backup was better. I agree. Halak was unbelievable, but again, whenever they played Montreal, Halak would get the start.
Yeah. And remember when Halak had to step in the bubble for Rask in that playoff series and he got that first win against Tampa? I remember thinking like, "Oh my god, could Halak actually be like the thing that carries them?" And then they lost like 4 straight. It's like, "All right, well this was a little fun experiment." So, again, I think the big thing with Korpisalo is just getting the most out of Jeremy Swayman. And I think you take that and you're happy with that.
100%. And
Completely fine.
also, if Korpisalo can get you if he can be 50-50 for the year, I'm happy as a pig and poop.
That's what it is. I feel like we've hit on everything, Court.
Yep.
I think we've touched on everything. What can people look forward to from you over Bruins Diehards?
You can weekly content on Bruins Diehards. Check me out on Twitter, and also leave a message in the comments. I'm going to answer every single one of them, whether we agree or not. I'm still going to try and have a conversation.
He's not lying. He genuinely does, and I respect the hell out of it. Um, vibes are good. Vibes are good. And what I
Good
say to
vibes.
people
I
is
even
just
got
enjoy
at the
it.
card show today. I got Boston Bruins ice maker.
Oh, I
Yes.
like that.
So for my Leaf friends, when they come over and have a drink on Saturday, because the boys are coming over to watch the game, yeah, you darn right, they're all getting Boston Bruins ice cubes.
Hell yeah. That's setting a tone there, Court. I like
Setting the
that.
tone.
Setting the tone. Well, Court, this has been fun. Live Bruins Beat. We'll have to have you. Well, I mean, I always have you on Bruins Beat, but we'll have
Yeah.
to do more of these. People love you, which
Yeah, I don't know
is
why,
not a
honestly.
surprise.
Someone tell my wife.
Spoke Z is your biggest fan.
I
So
love that. I'll be honest. There's a bromance there. I love that dude. Great guy. Anytime I'm in Boston, I will make sure that I meet up with that guy.
he is always a good time. I
He
live
really
near
is.
him. So I am yeah, I see him out a lot.
Yeah, I know. And the last time you guys were together, he was sending me pictures of you guys drinking. I'm like, I just want to be there. It would be so much fun.
I know. I know. Well, Court, this has been fun. Always a blast. We'll do these more.
Yes.
Peterson, 88 keys. When are you doing this again? I'm not sure. Coming up, definitely. I have a very busy weekend with some different hockey, but
Yeah, my daughter's on the ice all weekend, and I've got to go. I've also got the sports card show.
what's next Tuesday? Well, you have the Leafs, so that could be something that
Oh, I'm
I
watching
will.
the Leafs all week. It's gonna be Saturday night in my basement watching the Leaf game. This
Hell
is
yeah.
happening. All the boys are like, "We're coming over." I'm like, "Oh, let's do this." It's painful for me. It's like I'm in a room with
I
like 8
bet.
other people. It's tough.
And they're cheering. Yeah, it's not easy. See, growing
I
up in
know.
Boston and being a Boston fan, I've never really had to experience that, but I imagine being in Toronto as a Bruins fan.
It's
But
painful.
you've had the upper hand in quite a few playoff
Well,
series, which
that's
is
what I always
nice.
say to them. I literally was talking to someone at the sports car show, and they were talking about it. I was like, "Well, it's." They were like, "Well, we got the Bruins number." I'm like, "Yeah, not in the playoffs." So,
Not at all. Not even
nope.
close.
Yeah,
Court, great
Evan,
times.
thank you.
That's live Bruins beat. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll be doing these again soon. I'm Evan Marinofsky. That's Court Lalonde. You Bruins beat listeners, have a great rest of your week.